Hello, everyone, and welcome to Roll and Keep, and Tabletop's weekly show that's all about playing, teaching, designing, and learning about settings primed with the Cortex role-playing system. If this is your first time with us, thank you very much for joining. You have come into a very wonderful holiday-themed Tale of Xadia. It is the second episode, but don't worry, we're going to catch you up, so you can definitely hop in here instead of hopping back to the first one, although you can also hop back to that first one even after you've watched this. It was pretty delightful and fun. For those of you who don't know, Tales of Xadia, the Dragon Prince role-playing game, is an upcoming TTRPG based on the Netflix show of the same name, The Dragon Prince, by Wonderstorm. You can find the free rules primer for the game, 2 free tales, 12 ready-made characters, and more at talesofxadia.com, and you can, of course, watch The Dragon Prince over on Netflix. Tales of Xadia is primed by Cortex, which is a tabletop role-playing game system that provides you the tools you need to build your very own customized RPG setting. You can learn more over at cortexrpg.com, or if you're lucky, you might win your very own digital copy here today in chat, because we're going to give away copies when a player rolls a heroic success. What is that? You'll find out. Don't worry about it until it happens. And who are these lovely people that we have here today? Well, I am Melly Doucette, Community Manager for Cortex. We also have actor, improviser, storyteller, GM extraordinaire Aliza Pearl, TTRPG creator, performer, and DGAL Community Manager, the Zelda, Emmy Award winner and founder of Jasper's Game Day, Fenway Jones, and our very fearless narrator and the designer and creative director for Cortex Prime and Tales of Xadia. It is Cam Bangs. Cam, please take it away.
Hello, welcome back. As we left the tale last time, we had our 4 characters who had come together from various parts of the world of Xadia in the lands of Dalbar, and they included 2 humans and 2 elves. They're the 2 parties traveling separately originally, with some friction and rancor between each of them, which we developed over time. All of them seeking out the human kingdom of Dalbar for various different reasons, and we will go into that in just a moment. Actually, I think I would like to introduce the characters before we start rolling. So let's go from the beginning again. We do start off with Melly, you are playing Trestle, one of the human characters. Tell me more about Trestle.
Yes, I am playing Trestle, who is a Neolandian dark mage. So if you watch the show, you'll know a little bit about dark magic. It requires sort of using magical creatures in order to cast spells. And there is a cost to that. There's a corruption that comes in. I think we're probably going to see some of that showing up here with our little dark magic brat Trestle. And let's Cortex style, I'll throw it to somebody else. Ponmalar, Fenway.
Absolutely. So I am playing Pon Malar, an Evanerian, I think, archer, and pronouns are they, them. Very kind of the silent type, although they don't very much get along with Trestle, but have been kind of guarding Trestle on their route from Neolandian up to where Trestle was collecting some magical things, and then now to Dalbar.
From there, who else do we want to introduce? I think we'll maybe go to Aljal, perhaps. Aliza?
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, Aljal is a Moonshadow elf assassin by trade and by raising, but has kind of been on break from assassinating mostly, and is traveling with Benetta. Eljal is they, them, and Eljal is not always very emotive or expressive, has a rich inner life, but kind of lives it inside rather than outside.
All right, and that brings up Benetta. So I am B, and I am playing Benetta, she, her pronouns. So whereas Aljal is kind of like quiet, dull, not conversational, Benetta is the complete opposite. She will talk your head off, and if you're not listening, she'll talk to the horse. She's a Sunfire elf, considers herself from like a lot of prestige. So interacting with humans who just like don't recognize how great she is, there's a really like a cognitive dissonance that happens. And Benetta just likes to kind of be friends with anybody who looks like they either need her help or could defend and help other people with her.
That's fantastic. And so these four have brought themselves together. They united at a tower looking over a large bridge that led into the land of Delbar, whereupon they met a caravan of merchant guards, it seemed, led by a woman named Hild. But they no longer had much time to sort of get to know them and their sort of lack of resources and their Scrabble way of life when they were attacked from all sides by horrible wolf-like bear creatures with horns. And so we will find more about what happens next in this next episode of what we are calling The Tale of the Frozen Barrow.
The next saga of the Dragon Prince is yours. Forge a path with friends and create your own Tales of Xadia with an all-new tabletop role-playing game where you'll forge alliances, encounter dark magic, and confront untold dangers in a system designed to capture the magic and wonder of the Dragon Prince. Featuring never-before-seen content and lore, engaging simple-to-learn rules, and easy-to-use digital tools. So whether you're a tabletop veteran looking for something new, a Dragon Prince fan that's never rolled dice, or you're hoping to share your passion with the next generation of fans, the future of Xadia is in your hands.
Wow! How'd you learn to do that?
I've never done that before in my life.
Pre-order your copy and try out 2 amazing tales in previously unexplored locations. With 12 incredible ready-to-play characters to jump directly into the adventure. All available now at talesofxadia.com. Tales of Xadia, the Dragon Prince role-playing game. The next saga of the Dragon Prince is yours.
So the winter winds are howling. The air is chill. The sleet has been hitting the surface of the battlements on this tower. It is a 3-story tower. It is tall enough that you can see across the land and across the large river that has been flowing by the border of Delbar, in which Ponmala and Tristle came up on a boat. And it is tall enough that you can see across the bridge, whereupon a horse ridden by Aljal and Netta had come across as well, and they'd all come together here. It's also tall enough to see the approaching and very, very menacing looking wolf bears, of which you have no understanding really necessarily what they are. But it is also not tall enough to keep this enormous mother bear, it seems, from having climbed up the back of it and the side and surprising all at the very end of last session. You had a bunch of stress. Each of your characters had been afflicted by some stress. There was definitely a lot of angry stress on the part of Ponmala and on Benetta's hand. In fact, with Benetta, being angry makes her heat being ability come out. It's quite impressive. It's stronger, more agile. For Ponmala, it just means you're more and more angry at Tristle, I think. But all that stress, normally at the beginning of a session, we will step it all down by 1 step. And if it's a 6, it goes away entirely. However,
that's brilliant.
because we left this at a cliffhanger, that does not happen this time.
Oh, okay.
So you were going, yes, I know. You were going to be starting this off with the conflict ahead of you, as afflicted as you were last time when we left. What we're going to do is this is going to be something called a challenge. And in Tales of Xadia, there are numerous ways of rolling dice to achieve what happens and to find out what's going on. A challenge is one way of doing that, and that is a sequence of rolls, almost like a series of tests. And they're all conducted against a pool of dice, which I have created, which is a challenge pool. And the challenge pool represents all the various things that are going on that make it difficult and the obstacles you have to overcome. It doesn't have to be a fight. It could also be a puzzle. It could also have been something you want to try and achieve that's just difficult and takes time. In this case, it is indeed some kind of battle. You have these creatures that you have to deal with in one way or another. You will all take your own turn rolling against this challenge pool. If you succeed at your test against it, you can use your effect die and apply it against the pool. If your effect die is greater than one of the dice in the pool, you remove that die so that the pool gets smaller. Then the next person will have fewer and fewer dice to worry about. If your effect die is not greater than one of the dice in the pool, you will step down a die in the pool instead. So you'll make it a little bit less difficult, but you won't have taken one entirely away. If you fail on your test when it's your turn, you will take stress. And the stress you take will be dependent on what I had rolled as an effect die on my side of the equation. So much like many things in Cortex, the way we do this is we begin with one character starting off, the one that seems to make the most sense, and then we will go through the rest of the group. You will choose who goes after you. So once you've had your test in this part of the challenge, you say, I've resolved it. Okay, now this person's going to go. The very end of that sequence, once all four of you have acted, the challenge pool itself gets to choose one of you, and by the pool I mean me, to enact its own wrath in one way or another upon one of you. So for example, if you're taking on this horde of creatures, most likely the last thing that's going to happen is that giant bear creature will pick one of you to go growl against, and then you'll have to sort of set a difficulty for me to try and roll. So without further ado, let's start off this. The positioning, so that you have this to remember from last time. I believe all four of you were on the third and highest tower step. Up here where it's open to the air, there are battlements all around. You could see down over the area, and above you was, because there's kind of a roof, but it isn't a contained roof. It's like a, say 10 feet up above you, and it's held up by stone pillars or supports. But there's no reason why you can't just leap off the edge of these sort of balcony areas.
I believe that's what Eljal and Bonetta both did. They both left and the humans were like, no.
Y'all make
no,
conscious decisions to stay, but yeah, the elves
were
were
about to,
gone.
I believe. That was the whole point.
No, we
you were preparing.
Did we not succeed?
Well, no, what you had done last time was we all prepared what we called an asset, which was what you were going to do to sort of like, okay, I'm preparing to do this. So we can, if you like, assume that part of that was you leaping off, which would be very exciting for Ponmala and Trestle because they would be facing this by themselves. But it's we can go ahead and do that if you like.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that's totally how I was imagining it. Like Eljal and Bonetta, boom, they go over and us humans are like, we'll help from here. And then suddenly like we have to deal with this big thing. And it was like, oh my gosh.
Maybe it would have been better to jump.
So down below, there are some smaller buildings, like one-story buildings, which is where many of the caravan's horses and sort of wagons and things have been pulled up to. And those have a roof which you can land on, so you don't have to go too far down. But you're elves and you're very agile, so that wouldn't be an issue. So let's just assume that's where we start off. I believe also each of you have, if you haven't got your own, but you've created last time for someone else, assets which you have got that you can include. Anytime you're using an asset in your dice pool, you get to include as many assets as you've got. You don't have to pick one of them. You can get multiple. That's different from stress. Only one stress will apply in your opposition dice pool if it happens. So I believe we're going to start off actually with Bonetta, because you were the champion with the raised sun-forged blade blazing ahead.
Ooh, I still have
You had done such a great job of creating this feeling of inspiration, I would say.
Yeah, heroism while trying to intimidate the enemies at the same time.
And you also are surrounded by flaming purple motes of fire, which have been created by Trestle using his dark magic.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So what will happen is you describe what you want to do. I will roll the challenge pool for you, which, by the way, starts out as 5 d8s. 5 d8s. It's quite difficult.
That's terrifying.
Yes, it's a lot.
Oh,
5
wow.
d8 challenge pool. I will roll that once we've decided, and that'll set the difficulty for your test, and then we will move to the next player. So,
Okay.
tell us what you do and how you want to do it, because you could each take your own turn and approach it however you like. You don't have to do like attacks and fights. You could do something like, I'm going to try and organize people. I'm going to do this. It is up to you. And then that's how you reduce the problem of the attacking wolf bears.
Okay, so just for clarification's sake, because Benetta, she wanted to jump outside. Okay, cool. So whatever horizon the bulk of these wolf bears are kind of in their little pack, Benetta's just gonna go charging at them with the intent to maybe hurt one of them and scare the rest away. Fire is scary, and like she's lit.
Yeah, she really is. I mean, it's the light out right now is quite dim, but it's very, very obvious when you have a Sunforged blade that's blaring up like it does, and you yourself have that as well because of your impressive sort of like magma-like skin and so forth. So yes, here's what I'll do. I'll roll my pool of dice. I'll just assemble it here using my clever little tools.
Okay. I will hope that you roll very, very low.
Now, I also included one of your stress dice if I feel it's appropriate. I'm not going to use angry because you being angry is not making this more difficult. In fact, I think it's kind of helpful for you.
Yeah.
But I will include your insecure die, which is D8.
No.
So the total actually is going to be, I'm going to be rolling 6 D8s. But don't worry though, I still only get to choose 2 of them to be the difficulty total, and then 1 of them will be the effect dice. So, I mean, it won't be
And
any
hey, more
higher
chance for you to roll opportunities for us too.
Yeah, I'm most likely going to roll some because this is like the nature of our games online is that I roll like 3 of them at once. So here's how difficult this is going to be. As predicted. But that's really quite a lot of about 16 you have to try and beat. At this point, before you roll your dice, you can, if you like, spend a plot point to buy those opportunity dice off me, the ones that rolled ones. And it's only 1 point to buy them both. And what it means is you will get to step down 1 of your stress or step up 1 of your assets, or 2 assets actually, 1, by 2 steps. So you can reduce your insecure stress, for example, to nothing. It'll go down to 6 and then go away. Or you could spend it to increase 1 of your assets that you've got by 2 steps, which might be what you
I am how you say I just want to attack. I just want to go forward. So I want to step up my assets.
All right. Yeah. So now if you want to just step up 1 by 2, you can do that. If you'd like to affect multiple things this way, it costs you 1 plot point for each to activate 1 of these different dice. But I'm assuming you'd want to put maybe your Beacon of Fear.
Or your Sunforged blade.
It.
Oh, yes, your Sunforged blade can also be stepped up.
Heck, I want it to be the blade. It's got to be the blade.
All right.
Yeah.
I believe it's a D8 for the beginning, isn't it? Or is it D6?
D8.
So for the time being, it's going to be a D12, and it just costs you 1 plot point, which you should remove on your.
And
journey.
is that for the duration of the challenge, Cam? When you spotlight an asset?
The entire challenge.
So until all 5 of these D8s go away, your Sunforged blade is a D12.
Yeah. It is really blazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not even going to have to hit anything. Just my presence. Hopefully, will scare the heck out of them.
So that's done. You've got a D12 now. You can put together your dice pool to try and beat my 16, which is the most I could possibly have gotten.
Okay. So we start strong. This is absolutely justice. There's people inside that tower that are ill-defended, inebriated, and they smell really bad. So any kind of justice I can bring them is just really what helps. And
yes,
I'm going to
is stepped up by 1 because of your heat being.
Yes, thank you, team.
Yeah, all the big dice. I love it.
Wow.
I am a knight of Luxuria. And Oh my god. So this is the time where I just start adding assets.
Correct. Yep.
Woo.
Oh,
Okay.
you can put your sword play in first if you like, which is your specialty. But
Oh, thank you. My microphone was covering that part of my screen. Okay, and that blade is a D10.
D12.
D12.
D12. Thank you. I'm
Two
like, I
steps.
wrote down D12. Oh my god, this is a beautiful thing. This is a really good way to start the game off.
This is a gorgeous dice pool.
It is probably the best dice pool I think we've had on this show, period.
Uh, and you're not even done yet. You've got 2 more assets to throw in.
Yeah, how
'cause
do
you
I
have the-
add?
So if you just go to the top, you'll see a little like dice icon, and
Oh,
you'll click it.
yes.
And you can drag and drop. It'll go
Beautiful.
beneath your other dice.
Do I get to name them, or does it just show up? You just see like the
It'll just
12?
be the die.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think
12.
Is it a 12? I think it's an 8, isn't it?
An 8 for the one she has. I gave her a 12.
Oh, you gave her a 12.
I
For
gave
the
her a 12.
Flame,
You gave her a
yeah.
12.
I'm trying
That's-
to show you like you can read that.
Yeah. No, I believe you. That's a huge. I forgot it was that good.
Oh my god, it was so clutch. And then I have my Beacon of Fear, which was D8.
Yeah.
Oops, that went nowhere. There we go. And I think
Wow.
that's it.
B, I haven't seen.
I think that's it.
I haven't seen a dice pool like this in quite some time.
Oh my
Someone please
goodness.
screen grab this. This is like
Oh yeah. Oh,
Wow.
definitely. Oh my gosh.
Really a thing of beauty. And I'm
Now,
And
What
what I
don't
like
now
about
roll
this-
well with them.
Right?
Because they can still all roll ones. That's the
Mhm.
problem.
I'm terrified
This
to
is
click
why
that
this,
button.
it's swingy, right? There's a bit of this which seems great. You think, oh my gosh, all these big dice. This is going to be great. Now, there's no reason why they can't all just roll ones because that's how this game works. So we'll
Okay.
see.
I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna do it.
Good.
Ooh, look at all those dice.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Wow.
I'll take this.
Yep.
holy crap.
Oh my goodness.
That's delicious.
So yeah. You did not even have to spend plot points to add more in. You just got 18, which already beat my 16. Here's
Oh my
me
goodness.
thinking
Not
that
a
was gonna be
single
fun.
hitch. Not
I
a
just need to
single
close
hitch.
that.
Effect
Oops.
die was a D12.
Thank
It was
you.
a D12 effect die, yeah.
Oh
Now,
my
So,
goodness.
and
Yeah.
is it possible to spend a plot point to add another effect die when you're facing a challenge?
You can spend, yes, I think I'm trying to pull this out of my memory. You can
Sorry,
step
I
up-
asked this question, but I do know the answer because I have also read the book that we're working from.
Okay, you tell me.
and I was
Melly,
saying that
remind me
because
again.
that yes, I mean if B has another plot point, she had another D12 unspent in her remaining dice.
So if you want to,
Oh, I see.
you can spend a plot point and pull another of the effect dice in, and that would be 2 effect dice, which would mean you take out 2 of the dice in the challenge pool, not just 1.
I would like that. I would like that a lot, please.
Yes, Melly, I believe they have just done what has not been done in quite some time, which is completely annihilate the first round of a challenge with not even a hitch or anything
Not a
else.
hitch, and like wow, this is
Not
looking
a
really great for
sweat.
us.
Was broken.
This is incredible. We might not even all have a turn. Like y'all
Ah!
others might like 2 more
Mhm.
turns could just get rid of this. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
Incredible.
Let's have you tell us what was so spectacular about. I mean, it wasn't a heroic success, but that's fine. We don't need to have.
Yeah.
It was good enough, even just with what you rolled to do it. So that takes 2 dice out of it. This was just you charging in there. So tell us. It clearly was successful in one way. I will tell you though,
Yeah.
if, once you tell me what you do, I might amend it because there might be something weird about these things. And so
Okay.
go ahead and tell me.
Well, okay, so because the success is, it's like the running in. So the dive from the tower was spectacularly cool. And then they hit the ground, like she hits the ground superhero style, and then just gets up and starts running. There's like a couple of like rocks and like a couple of crates or something just out in the distance that she uses to like flip over, and she does some really cool flips in the air. The blade is just being swung, creating almost like a halo effect, like that glowing in the dim light. And it's just like a spectacle of fear, you know?
Do you actually have the sword blazing through any of these things? Is that what you're trying to do?
Can I kill some? I would love to kill some. I know they don't deserve it, but I kind of want to kill them.
You're out there amidst them. Like I said before, there may be about half dozen or more, maybe, of these things just coming out. That they were bellowing and baying and roaring and look fierce. They're as big as bears, and they had these sort of long, elongated snouts and the horns on their heads. As you come up, they don't seem to be at all bothered by the fact that you've got the sword. It wasn't really that's bothering them. It's that when you just right through. Like it's like a hot knife through butter kind of thing.
Yes.
But to alleviate your worries about any gore and this whole thing being anything other than PG, as you do that, like they seem to sort of like whoosh, and like buckle inwards, and then almost like smoke or something else. They just faded, and that kind of like lit up briefly as your sword cuts through it, and there wasn't anything left. Like it was gone, dead, just destroyed. But
I love that.
So nothing left. So, and that happened to several of them. You just went through and mowed through them. And the others just kept running past you towards the tower. So, extremely effective, taking so many of them out. But now we're left with 3 more dice in the pool. And you may now tell me who is going to go next out of the rest of your companions.
I want some long-range action. A ranger. Ponmalar, how you doing?
Hopefully well. I want to try and definitely try and shoot my arrow at the mama bear's head.
So you had to spin around and notice this thing because you've got this very good sort of like situational awareness upon Milan. And also it wasn't trying to be quiet. When it came over the edge, it was growling and yelling. But also it's huge. You have a special effect on your character journal that talks about you dealing with things that are bigger than you. Want to read that out maybe?
Which one is?
I think it's under...
Is it one of the distinctions?
If you click SFX, that little available SFX on your second distinction, it should pull up that SFX for you in the left.
Okay. When I am in a test, contest, or challenge against an opponent who is at least twice as big as I am, spend a plot point to double my Marsh Ranger distinction die and keep an extra die in your total.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that means that you'll add 2 distinction D8s instead of just the 1.
Okay.
And when you're putting together your dice, instead of just putting 2 together, you'll keep 1 extra die from your pool that you've rolled to get a total that's made out of 3 dice, not just 1 die.
Oh, okay.
Which is phenomenal.
So, yeah, absolutely. So I definitely want to use that distinction.
That will cost a plot point to activate. But before we get you to put your pool together, I'll roll for the current state of this. You are also exhausted with a D6 and angry. The angry thing I don't think really applies here, but I will include the exhausted stress D6. And there's 3 D8s remaining in the pool against you. So let's see what that's going to be. It certainly won't be enough to stop the 3 total thing that you put together. All right. Well, I'm being nice to you apparently today. That's 2 more hitches on my part. I got a 9 as my total. If you'd like to spend one of your 2 plot points to activate that, you can step up one of your assets, or you can remove some stress. What would you like to do?
I would definitely like to step up one of my assets, specifically my heavy bow. Okay. And if I spend 1 plot point, I get to step it up 2 because there were 2 hitches, yes?
Correct, that's right.
Okay, so I will use 1 plot point to step that up 2, and then 1 plot point to use the Marsh Ranger ability.
Fantastic. So that will put you down to 0 plot points, but that's fine. I mean, I'm sure you'll do really, really well with this.
Yeah, we'll hope for sure. And then I think I'm going to use glory as my value because it just says I'd rather use an arrow to diffuse a fight if I can. And that really, and while it's my lowest value, I think that it really fits this.
Yeah, I like that. People using their D4 values even though it's not the best.
Yeah, but I do think that my awareness probably would be my attribute that I would want to use because it allowed me to be aware of the mama bear that was there.
All right. Yeah.
And then I
you
can
put another D8 in there. You can drag that in from the little key box thing because of the double distinction. Yeah.
Yep. And then I have a asset that's a D12 of cover fire.
Oh my gosh, you got a D12 from that too?
I did.
Oh no.
And wait, not only got a D12, but also got a second die that she gave to me. It was like,
yeah.
Right.
you made such great assets. It was delightful.
And then my heavy bow is in there, but that gets stepped up to
D12.
Right.
Oh no.
And
yes.
And I think you also can add like an archery specialty. I think you've got that. So that's like even another one. These dice tools, y'all.
Today,
Tasty.
I mean,
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
there's a part of me that thinks I made this too easy for you all. That's fine. I'm sure that I'm sure it's not so much.
It wouldn't have been as easy probably without the two hitches. So I think that's maybe the program or the game trying to make it easier.
It's throwing us a bone because our first session, we barely passed a single thing.
That's true.
This
Like,
is our due.
Yeah,
It's
for
true.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
And Eldar's thinking, I mean, Aliza, you're thinking like leave some for me at this point, right? But whatever.
I'm good.
Hey,
however it plays
the
out.
assassin's got a precision ended.
Oh my gosh. So okay.
You
get to
also
drag
drag
one
a
more
third die.
I
Drag
also
them like at 6, I think. You can go. Yep. So Fenway, in these occasions, I like to say that that's overdoing it. I think you're a little bit overdoing it, right? That's like a D12 effect die, but you also beat my 9 by a lot. It's 2 heroic successes from there because you beat it by more than 5, and then more than 10, right?
yes.
That can step up your effect die 2 more steps, but since it's already D12, what it does is it creates a D6 and steps that up to a D8. And so you've got a D12 and a D8 effect die just from your roll, flat out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a plot point because I'm activating that hitch you rolled, which is about the least of your problems at this point, is you getting a bit more of a hitch. So you're going to draw your huge arrow back and aim it and then loose it at this thing. In the course of that, I think your exhaustion is going to go up by 1 step. That doesn't affect the rest of this roll because you've already rolled it, but you will have a D8 exhaustion now. However, you just you took out one of the dice, and the remaining 2 dice that are left after that, one of them has been stepped down by 1 because you had a D8 as your second of your effect dice, and it had to be higher than to remove it entirely, so you just step it down. So tell us what happens here. This was extremely phenomenal. I mean, like that was like, a moment of true archery.
Yeah, well, I definitely, Panmalar kind of swings their bow, the giant like spear bow sized thing around at this giant bear and just kind of like smirks at it and then releases the arrow aimed straight at it. And then does it destroy?
It does what the other ones do. So you can, I mean, as the spear goes into it, like it hits it as if it's going to hit a normal creature. But then it kind of just like as it goes through, it just starts to discorporate and it willows out into a thick smoke or mist or some kind of vapor as it just discorporates entirely. And it doesn't do it all at once at this. It just sort of kind of unravels itself almost.
Okay.
And Tristle, you noticed that too because you're obviously up on the thing seeing it, but wow, yeah.
Is it possible to, before it kind of dissipates to grab just like, I have a couple of vials on me. Can I try and grab a vial of said mist?
You know what? With that success, absolutely. As
Okay.
it's not even, you did this, drop the bow and get the vial out and I guess somersault over there and just sweep up some of the stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure, cap it. It's gone and now you've got a little vial full of whatever the heck that is. That's phenomenal. Gee, after B's roll and then this roll, I'm just thinking, yeah, absolutely did not set this difficulty high enough. So
You underestimated us.
no, I think I overestimated my own ability to do well.
You rolled so well the first session. You were like, my bad luck is gone. I'm good at rolling now. And then this happened.
Well, I got it max out. I got 16, but then B gets 18, and this time it. All right, so
24.
fantastic. With that said, Fenway, who do you want to have it go to next?
I think I'll throw it to Eljal.
All right, Aljal, you have still got more of these creatures racing towards the tower. They went right past Benetta. Some of them you did see that when Benetta swung the sword at them, it was quite obvious. They just sort of like came apart. Like they just became mist or smoke. So you have that understanding. But what is it you're going to do to try and deal with this problem?
Yeah, I mean, I'd also like to look over my shoulder and can I say that I saw when Panmalar defeated the big mama wolf bear?
If you have not leapt off the tower yet, I would say that would be possible, but you have, I think we described how you'd landed on the roof and that's up there. And
Yeah,
there's
I
not a
already
guy.
wrote that. Okay, so I didn't see that. So I
I
don't
probably
know.
saw like the Benetta one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm, yeah. So I don't know that the mama bear is done. So I'm probably in that case gonna maybe try to corral the others just in case there is some saving to be done
Okay.
instead of just killing them
All right.
outright.
So you want to try and keep them from coming forth and sort of like just loop them. You've got
Yeah, I
your
want to
sword,
draw them away from the tower and the caravan.
you have your sword staff, which unfolds out and kind of uncollapses into a big weapon like this, which you can spin around. It's quite useful for hurting things. These are quite large, though. It's not like they're sheep.
Mhm.
So, all right, you're going to try and steer them away from the tower. That's how you're going to approach this problem. I'll go ahead and clear my roll here. I only have 2 dice in my pool now. One of them's a D8, one's a D6. But you are exhausted with a D8 stress, so I'm going to include that.
Mhm.
All right, watch as I roll more hitches. Nope, not this time.
Okay.
So, 11.
All
Okay,
right.
Aliza's a pro.
Okay. So I'm thinking this is probably influence. I'm trying to yeah, it's either influence or awareness because I am trying to herd them.
Yep.
But also, yeah, it's probably more influence.
Yeah, anytime you're using your own personal magnetism or persuasion or anything like that to make someone do something, even if it's a creature, it's influence.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe awareness just because, but the topography can cover that later. Just because I'm like, where am I taking them to is the next step. But influence is the attribute, and then the value I'm using is yeah, probably devotion again, because again, met new people, might definitely want to protect them, and yeah, I have some devotion to these new people. And then distinctions, I would say a moon shadow elf. I'm kind of like very in tune with nature and beasties and things like that.
You don't tend to
especially-
hunt. The elves don't hunt animals, so it's not like the same thing in this case. Yeah.
Right. It's more just being kind of like vibing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Since I am, well, I'm using my staff. I guess swordplay wouldn't count then.
You don't probably aren't using swordplay, but you can use your staff for sure.
Okay, so I'll put the sword staff in there, And then I would like to use the topography asset because I'm trying to find a good direction to push them into that's away from the caravan. Okay.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, to your right down there is the river, and to your left as the sort of slopes leading up into these very, very steep mountains with mountain crags and other kind of things. So this area that you're sort of like doing all this with and that Benetta had been running across was more like, scree and like rocks and other things with just a bit of like plant growth and things in various places and some very old twisted trees. So there's a lot of stuff you can hide around or move things towards, including kind of those very sort of like gully-like pieces of landscape. So you've got lots of options.
Nice.
So you can include that in there, sure.
Great. Okay. And I think that's my pool.
Right.
One hitch.
Yep. But still, without a whole lot of problems, you certainly beat the total. Do you want to spend a plot point to include another one of your dice into your total?
Sure.
Because if you do, you can move that 6 in there, which, coincidentally enough, would give you 2 heroic successes.
Woohoo!
As you beat the target total by 10. And would step up your effect die enough that you could take out one of the dice of the D8s instead. I'm going to give you a plot point right back, though, so don't bother even taking it off your score, because you are going to get a little more exhausted from all that. D10. Okay. Running these huge beasts around is wearing you out. They're quite large, and they're not easy to do this to. You've removed one of the dice. It's only got a D6 left. Tell us how this works. I mean, are you trying to corral them somewhere specific? Keep them from getting to the tower? Tell us how that works and what kind of activity.
I think from how you described those slopes up into the mountain against the river, I think, I would try to drive them into that space between the river and the slopes, and maybe even up the slopes a little bit.
Yep.
Just like trying to get them tucked away into a spot.
So what's that look like for Eljal?
So Eljal whips out their sword staff, unfolds it, and is just running and like hollering, like, "Hi, follow me! Hello, this way! Hello!" Just making weird noises and shapes with their body and cartwheels and stuff. So these little big beasties will follow them.
Quite the opposite of your usual behavior, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
Usually I'm stealth.
I want to know what Benetta's
reaction
reaction to that is.
They're positive that's not Eljal. That cannot be them. That might be another one of the monsters. Yeah, definitely one of the monsters.
It was successful. You managed to draw them away from the tower, and they're sort of like they're bounding after you, just trying to chase you. And they've all decided at this point that you're pretty much the problem. However, one or two of them have peeled away from that group. You've got almost all of them coming with you, but there are still a couple coming towards the tower, which leaves the 1d6 left in the pool for Trestle to deal with. So
you gotta leave it to the best of the best. Trestle over here is going to solve this problem for everybody. It's what he's known for. I think seeing Ponmal like turn and saw this thing was just terrified. Like, Trestle does not fight beasts in hand-to-hand combat. That's not what he does. So he turns and sees that, is terrified. Arrow goes and it turns into that energy, and doesn't quite see I think Ponmalar capture some of it, but just sees that he missed his opportunity, and he starts to make some connections in his mind, and he wants to get his hands on one of these things. So he looks over, sees Eljal is like leading them away. It's like no, and he's gonna run down the stairs and throws a door open, and those other couple that had not followed Eljal are like right in front of the door, which is terrifying. But I think just knowing he knows exactly what he wants to do is going to cast some dark magic. I want to use my reveal spell in order to basically understand what these things are, what they're made of, and like be able to sort of control them in that way of like, I know what this is.
Okay. And
I can use these secrets now.
All right, nice. All right, well, it's not a very difficult secret. It's like a D6. However, you're afraid, but also you've got corrupted stress. Are you going to be using the corrupted stress in that way?
I'm not. I'm gonna save. I feel like I don't need to right now, so I'm not gonna take the extra risk. So the thing with that is like I could use my own corrupted stress. It doesn't cost me anything to do it, but if I fail, it's gonna make my corrupted stress worse. So I'm gonna let you use whatever you're gonna use.
All right, so that's 2d6. Beware, here comes the scary number. 9. Okay. Well,
That's actually like that's a pretty respectable roll, especially because I do feel like because a lot of this has to do with actually like running through this thing and getting there before something happens. As much as I want to use intellect, I do think agility is taking a big part of this, which is only a d6 for me.
Yeah.
Then I am going to use mastery because this is Trestle being like, I know what this is. I'm going to use it. I'm so good at being a mage. I'm so smart. I'm the best. And that will also be my dark acolyte distinction. And spend a plot point in order to make another magical creature asset, which for reveal is going to be, what did I say that was going to be? It is the antennae of an archangel lunaris moth, as well as an antennae of a sunray monarch. So a sun and a moon primal antennae of a creature, and they just kind of both get dissolved through the casting of Siam Roy lay there, reveal your secrets. And add my magic creature asset. Okay, rolling the dice. No, those hitches are really bad. Oh gosh.
I love it. Yes. So this works because you get an 11 and I get a 9. So successful, which we'll talk about in a second. Have a plot point, Nelly. Enjoy that plot point. I am putting your corrupted stress up by 2 steps. You feel that the dark magic flowing through you as you consume these pieces of the magical creatures. The sun and the moon primal are consumed. That flows in you, but as it does, I mean, there's sort of like the spider web of black veins coming out of your eyes and that around your mouth, and your eyes just go completely black for the moment. But then, like, your face gets even paler than it already was. You're not really aware of that immediately because you're doing your magic, right? You're revealing and casting the spell. These 2 huge beasts have bounded towards it, and they're coming at you. In your mind's eye or in your vision, as it's clouded over a little bit by this corruption, but you're seeing with almost pure clarity. The world goes purple. There's all this wind and howling, but you're seeing for the moment, there's something about them. They are influenced by dark magic themselves. They're suffused with it. They become almost like spectral in your vision. They're not really fully there. You're sure of it. They're real enough to everyone around you, but to you, you know that they're not really there, right? This is an awareness that has come through, and it just triggers in your mind. You're like, I know this isn't real. But there are horses in here. Like, you're in a sort of a stable area with wagons and things, and they're coming towards you. The horses are just terrified. There are people in here who are sort of like hiding behind wooden fences and things, just like, oh, the drunk people from downstairs. But these creatures haven't done anything to them yet. They've just come towards you and they're standing there transfixed almost as you see this.
And I say, warn me well, and make them disappear.
All right, they curl up into this thick black smoke as if you had cut them through with a sword, and the 2 of them are gone. As that happens, Aljar, you're up on the slopes. You see these things are following you, and they're getting closer and closer, and you're like, I better find a way to do something with these that isn't just running. And then this weird hissing kind of a low sort of like grinding noise. You think, is that the wind? Is that more of this snow sleet coming down? But no, it's these things sort of like buckling up and then just evaporating. It happens as they bound towards, so almost like the weight of them moving towards the ground as they jump, they just collapse. and then you're surrounded by this thick blackish purple mist and smoke, and you think, well, what was that?
I'd like to just take my sword staff, and like cut through the fog a little bit with it and see what it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it moves away, but then it kind of just evaporates. Like it becomes just the air, and then it's gone. And then anything else that was there is blown away by the wind, which is now howling around you. The storm is picking up.
Interesting. I'm gonna walk back to the tower.
Now, I have no more dice left in my challenge. You have successfully defeated the challenge. I didn't even get a chance to use it against you. That was fantastic. Bonetta and Alja are out on the slopes there. Sort of, you're seeing everything has gone. Ponmala, you've got this vial. You are now alone on the battlement to see what's happening. There's no more signs or anything else around you. You see no more threats and no more attacks. And Trestle, yeah, that looked pretty impressive to the people behind you. Because as far as they knew, you went, wah, and swept your hands around and they just...
Yeah, he just like has his head down, so like the hair falls in front of his face, and he just has a smirk you can see out of the corner. Not gonna say anything, but he's like, I know I look really cool. I'm the best. But inside he's like freaking out a little bit because he's like, that was some really amazing dark magic, and I want to know how to do that. So inside he's having his little fanboy moment.
And Ponmalar rushed down the stairs.
Yes, you can. You also passed by on the second level. And I think Trestle also ran past them too, but Hild, the tall, very sort of mighty-looking caravan guard chieftain, she had seen you. As you come down, she's like, What's happened?
They're all gone.
Gone?
Gone.
And so she accompanies you downstairs as well. Her assistant, Riga, is the woman who was doing a lot of the mucking around and trying to look after a whole bunch of drunken caravan guards, is also with you. When they all come together and you are all downstairs looking around, there's no sign of anything left over. There's no even a hint of whatever these creatures were. But as you've arrived down here, Pamela, you see that the men are just staring at Trestle. And one says, he's a mage. He made them go away with magic. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it too. He waved his hands and the magic took them.
Trestle, I thought you didn't want them to know.
I didn't want the elves to know. But I think that I just proved a very important point that dark magic is very useful, right? I mean, wouldn't you say, and I just like gesture to the men, like, wouldn't you agree?
Well,
don't you wish that you could do this for yourself, that you didn't need me here, that you could protect your own tower?
Did you not see what happened up on the roof?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay.
You shot the thing and gave me the idea to get rid of everything else. It really helped me.
Hild has just been watching this with interest. She hasn't given any indication on her expression that she approves or disapproves or anything else, but she does say right next to you, Pamela, because you're standing there with her, she says, what's with his face? And although Trestle's hair is covering over like most of his features, you can still see those weird spidery black veins coming down the lines on his face as the corruption.
And I think like his pupil and irises have like dilated a lot too, so there's very little of the whites left visible.
I think your makeup wore off, Trestle.
We will end the scene there because we've resolved all of that. We'll move ahead a little bit in time. Everyone is back in the tower. There is food has been prepared, and meals have been cooked up. A fire has been stoked.
What kind of food? They did not look like they had good food.
Well, they're using the food that came from Ponmalar and Tressel's stores.
Okay.
Yes, includes a variety of vegetables and other kinds of fruits.
I offered up a lot of spicy peppers, like a lot of spicy peppers.
You can all step down your stress dice by 1 step each, which I'm thinking you probably want to do.
Oh yes, I don't want to be angry while eating spicy peppers.
Except Tressel's corruption does not.
Oh.
That's one of the other big risks of dark magic is corruption. You have to actively try to fix that. It doesn't passively go away.
So there has been some conversation, and you're now in the midst of this conversation, this discussion about what's happening. You've come to know a little bit more about Hild. She has traveled to and from Catullus and Durin and around those parts, almost all the way to the border, many times in her life. She formerly was a soldier in the Delbaran army. In fact, she was an officer, but she left that service in order to pursue a lucrative career guarding caravans. And in fact, for a while, she was protecting other caravans. Then she decided that throwing her, earnings into her own was going to be the way to go forward. So she has this. There's about 6 or 7 wagons out there, which she has mostly stocked. She is going to go to a town up in the mountains. It isn't quite to Hinterpeak, which is the capital of Delbar, but there's a town, she says, that needs supplies. It's preparing a winter feast, which is the right thing to do at this time of year. However, the scarcity of goods and supplies around the place has hit everyone quite a lot. Having an army move through here away from and then into the conflict that happened over the border, that depleted a great deal of all the stores. She chose not to take that stuff from her wagon to feed her own people because, in this case, well, there's money to be made for it. So not only do you get a sense that she is quite battle weary and has had some history of fighting, she also seems to be extremely, what's the word? Well, penny pinching is not really correct. She places a high value on her product than she does.
Yeah.
But she probably pays them well. So that's just how it is. The men, for their part, talk about how they're going to really, really like this feast. They're going to enjoy this thing. The winter feasts are huge in Delbar. It's one of the most important things about their holiday tradition, as having a huge fires everywhere and huge beasts that are cooked and huge people and huge stories and everything else is huge. So they're looking forward to that.
So they're talking about like that this is like a holiday thing?
Yes, they're saying like, in a day or two, this is going to be a really big thing, and if they're going to travel up into the mountains and enjoy that.
It's not the It's not the holidays.
What do you mean it's not the holidays? Of course it's the holidays. Look, the time of year, it's a festival. Look, the sun goes down at night, earlier and earlier, all the time, and we have...
It's not calving season. It's far from it.
Horrible.
Not everyone has the same holidays as you, Tressel.
Well, this one seems stupid. It's cold and dark, and you just want to celebrate it being colder and darker.
You're cold and
terrible
dark
idea.
too.
Kind of. I'm inclined to agree with Tressel. Cold and dark is awful. Give me a bright, warm holiday.
Wouldn't you want something to lift your spirits on the coldest and darkest of days?
I'd rather just leave, honestly.
Yeah,
if I could, I would just, leave, go to someplace nicer.
Some
Not
vitamin D
everyone
would
has
probably
the
do you well,
resources
Tressel.
to do that.
Oh, that's Aljal, okay.
Some people are stuck where they are, so they make the best of it by having festivities. I personally wouldn't mind a nice warm cup of spiced moonberry juice. Do they have that type
spice?
of thing
Is
there?
it spicy?
Spiced, yes. Well, it has spices and herbs in it.
Any cayenne
Kick.
pepper, maybe?
Cardamom.
Cardamom, yes.
Could I add cayenne?
I'm sure you could.
Okay, I'm interested again. I think I want this.
You could probably even drink it out of a spicy pepper.
Eljal, before our mission is complete, we have to do that.
I would be open to trying that, maybe.
Yes? Do you think it would make you laugh? Smile even?
Peppers have never made me laugh or smile,
What?
so probably not.
I think it may make the rest of us laugh and or smile.
Ah. Yes, I'm inclined to agree with that.
So this is a moment when you can spend time trying to do some recovery, if you would like to, and rest up a little bit as you're having this conversation with Hilda and her men. And recovery in Tales of Xadia is a step which you can do to try and make your stress go away. And maybe I can get a reminder from Melly because I don't
it's 2d8 plus the stress that you're trying to recover. You usually have to have somebody else help you try to recover.
Correct.
So they're the one that makes the roll to help you, and their effect die, if it's bigger, it can completely recover your stress. And if we were playing a long-term game, you would also get to take that die of what they recovered and you put that into your growth pool to spend on making your character cooler. Corruptive stress is different though. I would have to correct that myself, or another dark mage could, but you need to use dark magic to get rid of corruption and potentially get more corrupt. It's a cyclical thing.
Yeah.
So Trestle in this case is definitely going to excuse himself at some point to find a quiet, dark place away from the elves and everybody else to try and fix his whole thing. But everybody else might be wanting to help somebody else make their stress better.
Yeah, and luckily you've got 3 people who can each do something to encourage, otherwise help the others. The main problem with Bonetta and Pamela is you're both mad. You're both, well, not mad, I should say, angry, frustrated, furious. It's come down a little bit, obviously, because you've been having this sort of a quiet conversation. But we'll say that maybe the actual conversation is leading away from things that make you angry and less about that. So each of you can try and bring down someone else's stress with this conversation. So that'll be great. Eljal and Pamela, you're also exhausted, which really being here present with these people, you could come up with some reason why that's also relaxing as well. I believe that this moonberry juice, you might have a small supply of it on your person, Eljal, which you always bring with you. It goes quite far if you mix it with water or other kinds of liquids. It's quite potent. Right, so.
Peppers juice? Pepper juice? Yeah.
Just straight capsaicin oil.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Keeps you warm.
Yeah, it's not hot sauce. It's Inferno sauce.
Straight soy
sauce.
So here's what I'll do. I'll roll the dice if you like, and you can tell me who you're trying to assist. And we'll start with Bonetta. Are you trying to make Pamela or Eljal feel a little better about things?
Honestly, Eljal, because I've traveled with them the most, and we're almost in like a brand new social situation, and I'm getting more out of Eljal. Like they're actually talking, and I just want to see if I can, help them with their exhaustion by cracking a few jokes about spicy pepper drinks.
Yeah. So I roll the dice, and I get an 11.
Yep.
You'll have to beat an 11, and the way you'll do that is you just pull the dice pool together, which describes how you're doing this, right? Much like anything else, just pull the dice pool together and try to get more than 11 when you roll. So.
Okay. Well, probably spirit, because I recognize spirit as like the internal justifications that don't have any true rationale that kind of define a character. And then, oh my word. Well, I'm a servant of my people. I feel like I'm playing more of a maverick. I love my people as much as a warrior can.
Yeah.
Eljal, you're cool. Yeah. At the end of the day, despite how much I razz you, I really do have a lot of respect for you.
Especially after what you just saw on the mountainside.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I kicked the most ass, but everyone that's pretty cool.
Well, it's true.
Let's see. I'm Sunfire Elf using my spicy attitude.
Mhm.
And then specialties. I mean, I could justify it's something strategic. Do I have to add a specialty?
No, you don't. If
Okay.
you haven't got one that applies, you don't get to use it.
Yeah,
No.
then I'm not really going
You
to apply
must
that.
always have an attribute evaluate as distinction. Everything else is kind of as it applies.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll that.
Hmm.
Better.
So I think that you step it down if you fail. It might, or maybe you don't make it worse, or does it not change? I don't think it changes. No,
I
it
don't think
doesn't.
it changes. I think that might mean that Benetta gets stressed, but I can look it up while we do another roll.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh
I
at my
think-
jokes, Aljal.
I think that you're starting to get a little bit. In fact, I think it is. I think you fail it, so you're going to take some stress. You're
Okay.
feeling a little bit unsure about a lot of things now, Benetta, after this.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as if any of your clever little quips and calming ideas are making much of an effect on
Mhm.
Aljal. And Aljal, for your own purposes, this is just annoying, right? This is like the wrong kind of bedside manner that anyone would want to put up with.
I'm feeling a bit insecure about it now. I really
We'll
thought I
make
had
that
a good
D6,
handle on it.
D6 insecure.
Thank you. Gotta go mope.
Aljal, how about yourself?
Well, yes, I am ignoring the little quips and jokes. Because yeah, I'm just like, what is going on? What? But I also am looking for my looking for my moon juice.
Mhm.
And I'm looking around to see if there are spices and water to extend it, to see if I can make a batch to share with everybody.
Yeah,
And
that seems fine. And who
Yeah,
are you going to
hopefully,
try
like-
and apply that to, Pamela or?
I can only choose one.
Well, actually, no. If you have enough effect dice, you can apply it to multiple people.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because you could spend a plot point and get a second effect die and put one on one person, one on another.
Ew. Okay. Well then.
I will pick one of the people's stresses, probably the biggest one, to go into
Okay.
the pool when I'm rolling things like that. That's the problem. So if it's
Alright.
going to be Aljal
I-
and Pamela, I mean Benetta and Pamela. Yeah, I think
If
it's
you would like it, Aliza, I
Hmm.
would like to spend a plot point to offer up that Trestle has a bag that he left behind when he left, which, he mentions cardamom. So maybe, and so he would totally have some spices. You can get some spices, and then also you can see some dark magic reagents, like some bits and pieces of some magical creatures if you want. I will throw that out there as you'll get a D6, and then also we're putting some fun plot in.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I would, Eljal would definitely take a peek at the dark magic creatures, but wouldn't like take any out or anything. Just
Yeah.
But yes, you can totally find spice in there as well. Neolandian spices. So yeah, cardamom's definitely one of them. You'll have like cinnamon, stuff like that. And I will
And
spend a
Trestle
plot
has-
point to give you that D6.
Has
thank you.
Trestle carefully labeled everything?
Oh yes. Everything is very specifically labeled, like weighted, everything. It is very, very well organized.
Okay,
Yes.
lovely.
All right.
Oh,
Well, I'll
do
roll
you
the
roll
dice here.
first? Okay.
And tell you what you need to beat. You need to beat a 12.
Okay.
So what you'll have to do is put together a dice pool of your own. And when you're done with it, you'll need to spend a plot point to keep an extra effect die. So you'll need enough dice to really make that worthwhile.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let me try to just juice this as much as possible.
Mhm.
So I have the D6 from Trestle. Thank you very much. The spices. Yes, I know I did say juice this juice roll. And then I would say spirit, similar to Benetta's explanation of why they were using it. And then Wow, devotion. This is like the most Eljal has ever used devotion.
Most of the time when you're playing Eljal, you don't use that.
Yeah, it's usually like glory, I think, or mastery. But yeah, it seems pretty clearly devotion. And I'm gonna say a song for all occasions, and I'm kind of humming a Moonshadow Elf tune as I make this concoction. And then I don't think I can really justify anything else here.
Probably not. You can spend a plot point of your own to create an extra asset which you want to throw in there. At any time, it's always 1 plot point equals a d6 if you'd like to do that. And you could say that's just moonberry juice that you brought with you. What you're doing basically is giving something you've described in the story some game weight and saying, okay, I do have this moonberry juice. It's a d6 by spending a plot point.
I'll do that, knowing that I have a tendency to roll pitches when I have a lot of dice. But we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 plot point and put in a moonberry juice asset. And of course, I always get hitches. Almost always. Well, I guess I'll have to spend another plot point to bring this 2 down.
Yep.
But then I won't get 2 effect die, right?
No, you'll have to pick one of the 2 people who is in here to be helped.
Who doesn't like moonberry juice? What are we learning today?
Well, I don't want to leave Pomalar hanging. And actually, I'm not going to leave Pomalar hanging because then Pomalar can only heal Benetta or one. Yeah, so I will heal Pomalar because this is so reciprocal. We have to heal each other.
Yeah, Pomalar, you can remove your exhausted stress.
Narratively, Aliza feels like Eljal should do something for Benetta because Benetta has tried so hard to connect.
And I mean, here's the thing that you can still do that. It's just that it doesn't have the same mechanical effect. So then the question is like, okay, so Benetta has some moonberry juice. Why doesn't it help the way it helped Pomalar?
Yeah, I think we're seeing too the conflict between the Moon Shadow Elves and Sunfire Elves and their own approach to how things should get better. And each of them have tried the same thing on each other. And this is a learning experience, right? Like, here, have this lovely stuff I've made from the Moon Shadow. I'm singing a nice little song.
Love languages right there. Love languages in a nutshell.
That was beautiful somehow.
Yeah. Here's my gift to you. And you're like, but you rejected my words of, what is it? Like words of
affirmation.
Affirmation. Yeah.
Yep. And
I don't want it.
You're like, I don't feel better. I don't know why, but Pomalar's like, tastes great. Feel good. You've got a pitch as well. I'm not going to give you a plot point. Well, actually, I will give you a plot point. I think I will. I think you're a little bit afraid that Tressel's going to find out you went rifling through their bag, because you did see some things in there that kind of alarmed you a little bit. Any dark mage has collections of magical creatures. This is not a thing that elves really like at all. Dark magic is anathema to the dragons and to the elves and to the creatures over on the east. And so seeing these things in here is like, oh no. But then you think, oh, what if there's something about this person? You know, you start getting a little bit afraid. So you have D6 afraid stress.
Okay.
Whether that means you're afraid of Tressel, I think I'll leave it to you. I think it's more the situation is probably affecting you there. But you get a plot point. So now you should have 2 again. Is that right?
Yeah, I went down 2 and now I'm back up 1, so I'm at 2.
Awesome. All right. And last but not least, Pomalar.
Fantastic. So I do want to help Benetta. But first, before Tressel goes off and does whatever he's going to do for his own stress, I want to kind of, while the elves are talking to each other, while Benetta is originally trying to help Eljal, give Tressel the little vial of the smoke and just kind of place it into his hand and then go back to ignoring him.
If you like, you can spend a plot point to give Trestle this asset, or you can roll to create an asset for Trestle. What would you like to do?
I'll spend a plot point.
Okay. So Trestle, you've got a D6 med. Well, it's special. I wouldn't use this right away for magical creature stuff. So you have that. Now, armed with no plot points whatsoever, let's see what Pamela is going to do to make someone else feel better. This moonberry juice, by the way, top notch.
Cool. Fantastic.
Doesn't taste
All
like
right.
salt water.
No, which is really nice. So Bonetta is very angry, right? And I noticed that she was very interested by the holiday traditions of this area, and so I want to try and reduce her anger by telling her stories about my own holiday traditions.
Aww.
Oh, awesome.
Especially if there's fire involved, Bonetta will love it.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's the only time that they leave the Evanerians leave their homes, or like their little communities, because it's a season of floods in the swamp, and the water levels rise drastically, and so obviously there's a lot of tales of like creepy swamp creatures, and so it's a very necessarily festive time, but it is definitely some time that creates a lot of it's when a lot of courtship happens and a lot of interacting with other communities happens.
Goodness,
and
yes.
so lots of interaction.
Yes, lots of that. So this is going to be trying to sort of remove a little bit of anger from Bonetta by talking about how when people get together, it's good, right? That's your angle.
Yes. So I would love you. Actually, you go.
Yeah, I'll do
roll
my
your thing, and then I can justify my.
It's a D8 angry stress and 2D8 for the actual thing, and so I'll roll it all together, and I'll tell you it's going to be a 10.
Okay. Not terrible. Not
Yeah, you
terrible.
got this.
I'm going to use my intellect because it allows me to remember all of the stories from when I was a kid and all of the stories that I've been told. I'd probably say devotion, maybe, because it says I've been through battles and lives are too precious to risk, and so making sure to pass on traditions and things would be important. And then Evanerian Fenfolk, because obviously that's what I'm talking about, my own past.
And probably not mathematics.
Probably not, no. And I don't think archery or heavy bow kind of applies here. I'm not trying to shoot Bonetta and make her even angrier. So
also, please don't do math with me either. I don't think she would enjoy that.
No. Okay, so that's my pool. Let's see what happens.
Hey, success. So you step down Bonetta's angry stress by 1 step because your effect die was D8 and you have to get higher or beat it to get it. That's what we call it.
Right.
If you don't get higher, then you'll step it down, right? So Bonetta, you're not entirely free of anger anymore, but it did help. There was something about that story. Tell us your reaction.
I think it was absolutely like the conversations about like how this is like a coming together of communities that really kind of hit a chord with her. And while she's sipping that disappointing moon wine and kind of crunching on a dehydrated red spicy pepper, it's just like it's soothing, you know? But that moon wine is just so bad. It's frustratingly bad.
Oh dear.
I don't have the right type of spices.
No,
Alex,
it's not
I'm gonna-
spicy.
I'm going to let you step down your exhausted stress by one step, Aljar, because I like the whole moon juice thing. I think it's appropriate. So go ahead and do that. But Trestle, tell us about your secret hideaway process. What are you doing with your crocus?
I find kind of a space where, there's not many people around. It's probably like the stable area where there's just some horses. And there is the horse, of course. Bonetta's horse, who I make eye contact with for a moment before deciding what I'm going to do. I find like a...
From last session was the one that was not happy with anybody. Especially not you.
We do not get along. I'm just like, be cool.
So it's locked eyes with you and it will stare at you through the entire course of this treatment that you make for yourself.
It's hard to do it when somebody's watching. And I'll find the thing a trough of water, so I have a reflection that I can look at.
It's the horse's trough as well.
Yeah, I'm like, get out here. You don't need water. I need to change what I look like. But then I think as I'm going there, I'm like, what if? Because I'm thinking about this vial that Pon Malar gave me, and I'm also thinking about our holiday traditions. And in Neolandia, it's all centered around, like the calving season for elephants. It's not this time of year at all. Our year is completely different. But I'm thinking about, when that happens, we have a whole kind of like gift to trading thing. You're always trying to trade up to the best gift. And so I'm thinking about the story that goes with that. And I'm like, I could use my power and make myself feel better. Or I could trade up. And I could maybe use all of this corruption that I have in me to figure out who made this where they are. I want to try to track. So instead of doing a recovery test, I'd like to do some other kind of test to basically use this asset that I was given to home or track or get a sense of where it came from. And I would be using my own corrupted stress to help me do that.
There's not a spell that that can help, so you wouldn't get to use a dark magic spells asset. But it definitely does fall under dark magic, and it does fall under your dark acolyte.
Actually, I do have reveal your secrets, which gives you that knowledge and information. Could I use that spell?
Yeah, I'll let you do that. I think that's this is a special occasion. Why not? Dark
it's
magic
the holidays. Come on.
Something also to be aware of in the world of Xadia, magic. There is no improvisation of magic. There's no I think I'm going to make a spell that does this and just improvise it. Every spell has already been sort of figured out and can be taught and known. The rune mages who use the primal magic sources, they have many spells that they know. The dark magic mages, they do study and learn and have spells of their own, which sound like the spells said backwards words. But it's still okay to use magic in a way that seems improvisational if it's a spell that exists, right? So that's what we're talking about here. So, okay, sure, sounds good. I love this because it means you're not getting any better and you're doing some terrible things.
I'm probably going to come back looking even worse, honestly, by the time this is done.
You know that white chalky powder you put in your hair to make yourself look kind of edgy? Yeah, you won't need much of that.
You can tell now, there's definitely a place where you can see the difference in color between the fake stuff that I put in and the real, turning white that my hair is doing.
So there's a few strands of hair that are turning white at this point. All right, so that's going to be difficult. This is quite difficult.
I'm expecting it.
And I'm going to make that 2d10.
But you can't use my corrupted stress because I'm using it to benefit myself.
Nope. And you have no other kind of stress that I can throw in here, so I'm just going to roll this and see how I do. And when I say difficult, I mean I get a 9 in the hitch.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So I have exactly the number of plot points I need. So I will buy that. Mm-hmm. Put myself down to 1 to step up the asset that Pon Malar gave me to a D8.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Then I have to spend 1 to make a magical creature asset.
Great.
So this is more of those antennae because I have a collection of them.
I will let you use that vial if you don't want to spend a plot point for magical creature asset.
Okay.
I
like it. This is another, magic. I will take it. I will absolutely take it.
It will consume what's in there, but you're trying to use it to find the rest of it, right? So
that's the kind of risk Trestle would take. He doesn't think he's going to mess up and need more of this later. He's going to use it right now.
Yep.
Such a brat. This is definitely his intellect. So I'll throw intellect in there for the attribute. This, honestly, so part of me wants to make this mastery again, but I think actually in this moment, there's a little bit of that, this is really something incredible. I think this is a little bit of glory, which for him is, I was raised to seek conquest and find entire. He's not looking to conquer.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking to meet this person who did this really cool thing and be more like them. So I'm going to use my glory, even though it's a little bit lower. This is definitely my dark acolyte.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely dark magic spells. And I think I'm going to activate my Price of Darkness SFX. I'm going all in on this. I would like to show everybody watching this how corrupted stress and trauma works and how tempting it is to do this. So when I have the magical creature asset in any dice pool with your dark magic specialty, I can step up or double dark magic. Then I have to convert that asset into stress after.
You're gonna get, it's gonna get bad.
So I'm gonna step up my dark magic specialty to a D8.
Okay.
I love it.
Jeez.
Let's see how I do.
All right.
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to, I would like to make this a heroic success. So I'm going to spend my last plot point.
Okay.
That I can do that. So I'm a 17, which is a heroic success. It'll go up to a D12 for my effect die.
So that's fantastic. That is a heroic success for the chat there. However, Nelly, the use of that ability goes in before the dice are rolled. So you now have a D12. It goes in.
The use of it happens after it'll get converted. So yes, you can buy my hitch first and mess me up. And then I'm going to be even more messed up.
Yeah. So buy the hitch, have a plot point. You needed one.
Thank you. I'm at a D12 corruption.
And then I'm going to take you out of the scene entirely by stressing you out as you get the D6 corrupted stress.
A D8 from it converts that D8 into corrupted stress.
Comes in there.
And puts me above a 12.
Yep. So here's what happens. At the end of this, it's gonna basically consume you a little bit. You look into the water. The water there is like what you're sort of using as kind of a scrying thing, and you've got this thing, and you pull it out, unstop with the vial. You can.
And I'm saying as I do this, before I even start, I'm saying kind of that story to myself, like the little girl traded a peanut for a cloak, and on and on and on until she traded a peanut for a palace, and getting really into this idea of this is the only option.
Stepping up, trading up. This is one of these fables from the Irlandia about the girl who stepped up and traded up everything. Yes, pulling it out, as you say it. This air, this mist, is drawn out of it, almost like you're pulling it out. It's dragged there. You wave it across. As it passes over the surface of the water, the surface starts to go. It starts to frost over, and you hear this crackling noise as everything in the trough turns to ice. The temperature around you starts to lower and lower. It was already kind of chilly out here. It's getting colder and colder. You can feel the ends of your fingers. It's feeling colder. Your eyes, again, you have that feeling across your vision of this haze, of this purplish light, of the using of dark magic. But then you blink a couple times and you're not here anymore. You're seeing something else. You don't know when or where this is, but you think you're seeing out the eyes of someone else. And you can see their hands, they've got gloves on, black, big, thick gloves with fur around the edges. But they're just a night black, and the fur is ermine, with the white and the black in it. They're weaving their hands together, and you can see powerful dark magic coalescing around it. And what you're looking at, past the hands, past this sort of vision, is a cave. It is long and deep and dark, and something is in there, and it is in conflict with something else, fighting something. You can't quite tell the length of it. This glistening light coming off it in various different angles, like scintillating. And you see that it is a worm, a dragon, a serpent. It is huge, and what it is doing is it's coiling around and spinning in the movement in this cave around a single individual who's down there with a great sword, is swinging it back and forth, dealing heavy blows against it. And then at some point, the creature manages to curl itself around and then smack this individual so hard that he goes flying out of the cave and lands on the landscape next to you. And you look at him and you can see his face, and you get that recognition somehow this person is close to you. They're related to you, they're loved by you, you don't know. Turning again to the cave and it's coming out, you finish the spell, and a sheet of ice covers over the entrance. It starts out with just like frosty crystals appearing, and then they build together and weave themselves in place, and the dragon hits it. The dragon itself looks like it's made of ice. But as it hits the thing, you can see that the lights and the sparkles and the shining scintillation of everything has faded. And all that you see is darkness, thick black ice with purple threads through it. And then the feeling of being overcome by what you've just done. One moment to look left and then see this man with his sword and this grievous wound, and he's clutching it, and you know that he isn't going to make it. And after that point, all is black. And then you feel that you come out of that sort of vision just briefly, and only in that moment do you realize that you've done too much. And your hands, you can't even move them. You fall backwards and hit the floor, and before you even hit the ground, you're out of it. And the sound of the horses freaking out outside is audible to everybody inside, right? Benetta, you're closest to the door. If you want to run out and you can see what's going on, the others all stand
absolutely.
up.
I'm
Hill
usually
says,
very good with horses.
"Is it more of them? What's happening?" And she stands up, but you're closer.
I can't see anything.
Didn't Trestle go out there?
Yep.
Oh.
When you go out the door, Benetta,
Yep.
you see all the horses have moved to the back of the stables.
Oh, horsies. Is my horse in the back of the stable too?
He is mad. He's just stomping his foot. They're scared. He just looks pissed. They're not worried about, it's not worried about anything except the fact that it's just angry. And you know anger too, because you've got that thing.
Yes. Benetta will shout kind of, Paul Millar, could you maybe come check out your friend? I'm going to, okay, calm horse, calm now. Okay, no, please, no kicking. Don't kick me, don't kick the other horses. Okay. Shh. Please.
The floor of the stable is slick with ice. You don't have a whole lot of experience walking on
What
that.
is wrong? Is
you're
this a new
sliding
type of
little
flooring?
bit. I mean, you're pretty agile. You're an elf. But you get across to the horse, and it's like, and then you turn back. As Pamela, you're going to come out, I assume, through this door too.
Yes.
Your first thought is, wow, it got cold out here. But also the stables aren't that open to the air. I mean, like there's obviously stable walls around here, and there's sort of the swing things that open up. But you're seeing the inside stables, the hay and things are here. It's just nasty because it was not very well looked after for quite some time, as you know. Now there's ice everywhere. And you see Benetta calming the horse, but you also see the still figure of Trestle lying like rigid on the floor. There's an empty vial. The cap's been taken off it. And he looks like he's been frozen over. He has this long streak of white hair, which you didn't notice before. But the rest of him looks just like his stuff has been, freeze blasted quickly. The trough itself is iced over. There's thin layers of ice everywhere, and there are starting to be crystals forming in small places around it.
Paul Millar, is that your friend? Are they? Why do they match the
Lord.
floor so well?
I think they caused the floor.
Whoa. Should we... Do
Trust-
we melt them? Fire really solves almost everything.
I mean, I haven't known him very much. I haven't known him for that long. I don't think melting is probably not the greatest idea, because I don't think, and Pamela will just like poke Trestle in the forehead. I don't think he's very like frozen solid.
No.
Huh.
He looks like
But-
he's been, like he's very cold, pale. His lips have gone bluer than they already were. And like I said, his hands and extremities seem as if they're like, curled up a little bit from the cold. But he's not like a big bouncing block of ice or anything like that. No.
Right. Well, Panmalar is gonna like pick up the vial and pocket it before Bonetta realizes it's there.
Perfect.
And like glares at Trestle for a quick second once
Do we
they realize.
slide? Do we slide them out?
Mhm.
Hold on. Eljal! Come
yeah,
check it
Eljal
out. I
will
think
have
there's ice.
Eljal will have come in by now and like watching this whole situation. And stepping forward, Eljal will say, maybe we should warm them up a little bit.
Like, fire. Fire
I
solves
think-
everything.
Is there a fireplace inside?
Yeah, there was a big
Made
fire
here.
that's been stoked up in one of those brazier bowls,
Perfect.
that you've been using to cook on and so on. Dragging him in would probably get him into a warmer environment than this is. There's
It's
also
like
a
that scene
Sunforge blade, but
change.
I wouldn't recommend.
I
Um,
would really like to slide him. Is that Malar? Is that okay with you?
Of course.
Eljal, don't. I always
it's-
want to push a human like this.
It's
Man,
fine.
these
Trestle
floors
won't
are
know.
dirty.
But they're still frozen. It's just frozen dirt.
Frozen.
Even inside though, they're still dirty. I think you described it last time as fragrant.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Mm-hmm. While this is happening, Eljal is still. I still want to like survey the area and just see if there's any other clues I can pick up as to what happened to Trestle.
Yeah, okay. You've had experience in the past with some stuff that may be mystical, magical. Who knows? I mean, it's just your general life in Xadia. So if you'd like, you could make a roll, and I will tell you whether you notice anything of any interest. It's going to be very hard because, this is dark magic and not something you've had that much experience with.
Okay.
So
Then
I will get
Oh yeah.
a 9.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm thinking awareness. Justice, weirdly, or maybe truth.
Truth is
Ooh,
magic.
Truth.
sounds
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
truth is the one. And then I'm gonna say homesick assassin. The homesick, not so much as the assassin part, just having to be detail oriented and precise.
Mhm.
And
You're working away
then-
from home as well.
Right, that's true. That's true. And I think that's kind of it. It's a small dice pool. Oh, but I rolled well.
Hey, heroic success even.
Yay!
I'm going to give you some information for that. In fact, you get to step that effect die up by 1 to d6. I don't know whether it's going to be an asset or anything, but just gives us an idea of how well you did. But a heroic success is a heroic success no matter what you do. You're looking around and thinking, as near as you can tell, as they've moved Trestle out of the way and they've brought him inside and they've all kind of, the horses have been calmed a little bit. It seems as if there's kind of like a radius, right? You can see where the ice crystals have formed like little thin needles and going outwards. It started with the trough and around where Trestle was and then went out. So even the floor, when it was slick, you can see that it's like just very, very thin ice, but it seems like there's a radius coming inwards. And so you've got this hint that whatever this effect was came either from Trestle or very, very near him.
And centered, like Trestle was probably standing by the trough. Sounds
Yes.
like.
Yeah. and the trough is frozen solid.
Huh.
And as you put your hand just briefly on the trough to sort of see how solid it is, you get a weird flash. There's a residual aftershock of this magic. It hasn't completely dissolved yet, and you get a sense too, a very, very strong sense of something huge and ancient, and its face draconian, with horns twisting upwards, but horns as if they're made and carved out of ice, and a face that looks as if it's been chiseled out like an ice sculpture, but moving. And it's just opening its mouth wider and wider and wider, and then you just get a sense, and close your eyes before anything else happens, but there was a sense of that this looming, scary, haunting face of a dragon, and that's gone.
Whoa. I'm gonna stumble back. Whoa. So our mage friend here has tapped into some weird, ancient, terrifying thing.
Eljal, we're dragging Trestle upstairs. You gotta follow us.
Oh, I say
I love
that
this idea
loud.
of like, you know,
Okay.
you're like there and you like go in this vision and you come back and everybody's gone.
Yeah. Okay. So I will follow you all, and then on the stairs, I'll tell you that.
All right,
Thud.
so you can
Thud.
confer that across to them.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Something ancient and draconian and icy.
What? This human?
Yeah.
Like thud. Huh.
I
Doesn't
don't know
really
if
seem
we'll be able
likely.
to, I don't know how we can get him out of this state he's in, but
That's what I'm hoping the stairs will do. Thud.
Thud.
So what we'll do is we'll end the scene there too, and we'll pass time a little bit more. It's the next day. You've given all you can to make Trestle seem comfortable and warm, and blankets thrown over him and everything else. The men drink themselves into some or even more unconsciousness. Hild spends a little bit more time working with Riga to sort of prepare the horses and make things ready. Their plan next day when it comes light is to leave and go to this town that they're talking about and take the caravan up there. Hild extends the offer to you. I think she's just talking mostly to Ponmala in this sense, because the elves, she doesn't not trust you, but you're elves, right? It tells you, Ponmala, that you're welcome to come with. In fact, if Trestle's still not feeling that good in the morning, or that you can put him in one of the wagons and they'll just have him bump up the side of the mountain as well. You know it'll take at least a day to get up there, but she hopes to get there by nightfall, which is just good timing because they'll probably be ridding the first of several days worth of feasting. Her understanding is that they might have just enough supplies for that first night, but afterwards they're going to need everything that's in here. So you will be well regarded and welcomed there. She can't tell you more about whether the elves will be a problem, but this time of year, everyone's very welcoming. In Delbar, it's all about the tales, it's all about the feasting, and it's all about as big and braggadocious of a tale you can tell. And as you hear that, Benita, you understand, there's something to that idea of just being as loud and brash as possible. These people kind of might get you.
Sounds like it. My kind of people.
Eljal obviously is completely the opposite. The last time you were here, Eljal, things weren't great, and that might not be the best situation to be in, but we'll get to that when it comes to it. So, do you want to have do you have any questions for Hild or anybody else here before this happens?
I do. Yeah, I walk up to Hild and leave a little respectful distance. And I say, I just, before we all figure out which direction we're going in, I just wanted to know if you have any reason to think someone might have sent those things towards you or to harm you or your people.
I was thinking about this very early this morning. We don't have any enemies. We haven't made foes. We haven't chosen anyone to be anyone. We don't do that. We people like it when we arrive. I have a very much a thriving business, and yes, money is exchanged, but it is one that everyone likes. That's why I chose it. I was tired of being the pointing end of the spear, as it were. That said, I was thinking about what these things are. These things, they reminded me of something. We have a creature in Delbar, to the north of here, over the mountains. So they inhabit the forests. They're called musk bears. And there's something about these things when I was looking at them, I didn't get much of a view of them because you were so successful in rounding them up. But they look like they were musk bears, but almost like the worst versions of them. Like a nightmare of a musk bear. If someone had explained what a musk bear was to you and you had never seen one before, and you were a child, and then you went to bed and slept at this. That's all I can say.
And musk bears are local to this region? Or
Not here, no. Really near Serpentine, which is to the north, where the men come from.
where the what are from, you said?
My men. My
men.
three. It's what are their names? Wilhelm, Ulf, and Sven all come from Serpentine. There's a lot of folk stories about them about the musk bears, but I'm from Hinter Peak, and so it's not a thing that I'm all that worried about. They're not mountain creatures; they're more like deep forest creatures. That's what was so strange about them, and also they're not that big and have that horns or anything. They're smaller, so I don't understand.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are you going to come with us?
Yeah, it looks like we will. My traveling partner seems excited for this winter festival. And I am too, for very opposite reasons. But
I will do my best to tell the residents of your assistance in helping us out. There shouldn't be any problem.
okay. Yes, I'm not inclined to go somewhere where we're not welcome.
Well, yeah. Believe me, you would know very soon in Delbar if you're not welcome. They don't hide their feelings too often. First of all, you slept terribly. It was not fun. It was not an enjoyable rest. But there were fits and starts where you felt you were coming to and it was just chilly and cold. But after a while, the next thing that you experience is bumping, like up and down, moving, bump and bump and bump. And each time it happens like this, like on your head, hitting something very, really. And when you come to, finally, you've got the worst headache. You don't feel necessarily you feel somewhat sick to your stomach. And also, for even more than that, you look up and you see the sky. You're not inside anywhere, and you realize you're lying on what might be sacks full of something. You've got a blanket over you which reeks. It just smells. And your head is banging on the wooden side of this wagon, which is what you've been sitting at back. Because as the caravan has been moving up, pulled by horses, it has woken you up. You have D6 corrupted trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
Your corrupted stress is gone, which is nice, but it's converted into trauma, so that's a thing. And you barely remember some of the stuff, but you do have, I'm going to give you that D12 that you got as an asset. And
Worth it any day.
That is a big asset. That's knowledge, and obviously not something you can really use for magical creature benefits, but it's going to be helpful.
I get up, I see like my hands. I think that's the thing that reminds me about the vision that I had, like thinking about those gloves and then ermine, and I'm like putting pieces together, and I try to sit up and see if I see anybody, because I have a place I want to go to, and I now have this power surging through me that I didn't have before that I want to tap into. And like, where are we going, and is it in the right direction?
The first thing you see is the eyes of the horse, and it's over to the left, and it is that horse. And Bonetta, you're riding the horse, and the horse looks at you, and you see, Bonetta, by the way, that Trestle has started to sit up,
Oh, morning, sleepyhead.
and the horse is just like,
Hey, now. Don't have to go bite. Okay, if you eat his hair, I mean, just don't make it in a noticeable spot.
No, that's
And
Where-
no, you weren't kidnapped.
Amala, where are you going to be? You want to be riding in the wagon with him, or somewhere else?
Probably, yeah.
didn't even notice, because like Pombalar has like the grassy cloak and stuff, and I just thought it was more garbage.
Rude.
No.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I think Eljal
Uh,
also will be riding in the wagon, if that's
Okay.
all right.
Ah!
Yeah, same wagon or a different one?
Probably the same one.
Okay, so just to give you the picture, there are 6 wagons all hitched together, pulled along by horses. It's a whole thing, right? The horses ride alongside, and they've got this sort of setup where they can draw along the wagons. The wagons are hitched together, so if anything happens to one, they can cut off the connection, or they can make sure that they all stay together. Up ahead and up front, Hilda's riding up there with Riga. The 3 men are spaced out down the caravan. There's one at the back, and 2 are riding alongside you. They're just, some of the wagons are covered. They've got like a sort of a tarpaulin kind of thing, a canvas over the top of them. Others are just open, and they're just full up with sacks full of things like grain. You can tell there's probably preserved smoked meats in there. There's a whole lot of stuff. Barrels. One of the wagons is just full of barrels, probably full of beer. Unspoiled beer, because they didn't drink that. That was the product. This one that you're on is mostly soft grains in sacks, right? Which is nice to sit on. But for one reason or another, each time the wagon has done this, you watched while you were sleeping, Crystal's head go, "Padam, padam, padam."
That's great. I have to ask this question, or I will kick myself later. Hild, is she
Yes.
wearing gloves? And if she is, what do they look like?
Hilda's not wearing black gloves. She has
Okay.
got fingerless gloves, actually, which she uses. They've got like ridges on them. This is like their riding gloves, yeah, that she uses.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sit up. There's so many people suddenly. Where are we going?
Well, first of all, that's the last time I give you anything.
It was very useful.
Hmm.
Very useful. That's
Yeah.
why I need to know where we're going.
Okay. To answer your question really quickly, because we need to get to you answering our questions much quicker. We're going to the Hinter Peak. There's a big winter festival up there. Now,
Okay.
what happened? What happened to you?
The horse neighs very intimidatingly.
We found
Accusatory.
you. You were like
Which would be
partly
cool.
there was like frost everywhere, some frozen water in the trough. And yeah,
And then we pushed you across the frozen ground and up the stairs.
It was very cool.
Mm.
you were
Cross that off my
really-
bucket list.
This is
You were really knocked out.
very expensive.
Ooh,
Oh, I'm
not
sure.
anymore.
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
not.
something.
It's a bit the worse for wear. The back of your tunic, for example.
I saw something. I saw someone, 2 someones, and I saw something bigger than anything I've seen before. A massive, Wyrm, dragon in a cave, and a powerful mage. And I think that they made those things. Those bear things. And I think they can do even more than that. I think they can do things that could help so many people, do so many things, so many incredible, amazing things. We need to find them.
Well, no, that's dark magic. No.
Yeah. Did they
I
seem
mean-
like... Are they anyone you recognize?
No, when I saw myself as them, I just saw black gloves, fur lined, and another person, somebody with a large sword that they lost fighting that horrible beast.
And you want to go towards this?
Keep in mind, they
Exactly.
sent those beasts towards where we were to hurt people.
That didn't seem like they
And we
wanted to
dealt
help
with them.
anyone.
Pretty easy.
Yes, and you said that they could do so much more, and I'm not quite sure we could deal with so much more.
Well, we could deal. I think we can
yeah.
make a lot of deals.
The last time I ever give you anything.
Eljal, what do we do? Tie up his
I don't know.
hands?
These humans are so reckless, just wanting to go into the danger like that.
Dark magic? Really? And like we are whispering. I like to imagine that
Probably
like Eljal's
loud.
sitting. Yes, like Eljal's sitting across from you.
Yeah.
So like
Sotto
Benetta has to
voce
shout.
or something where it's like stage whispering.
Yeah.
I'm whispering back to Pommel. I'm like, dark magic is bad, but cutting off my hands, okay?
Just wanted
They
to tie your
said
hands
tie up, not
Tie.
cut off.
No. I would just, surround you in a fire, keep you safe.
Also, not all of us humans are for dark magic. Just so you
Oh.
know.
Okay, that's reassuring. That is.
One of the guards
Slightly.
is wondering, like, it's riding alongside and comes up a little bit closer as you start all this noise. Like, oh, are you gonna do some magic again?
You know what?
No.
Go on, do a
No.
spell. Go on.
I
No.
snap my fingers
Mm-hmm.
and like just a flame appears at the top of my finger because now I have some corrupted trauma. I can do very minor magical effects without any corruption or magical
Does
creature asset.
that fire look like the fire?
Wolf, look
Oh
at
yeah,
this.
totally matches. It's like fingerprints. That's an
Oh.
exact match.
Ulf, look at this. And you've just got the thing. Ulf winds up as well. That catches up. Oh yeah, magic. That's what I'm talking about. You should use that when we get to Wormcrag, and you can show them this as part of the tale. You gotta tell them this.
Wormcrag.
No, we are not going to Wormcrag.
No, that's where we're going. That's the town.
Perfect.
I thought we were going to Hinterpeak.
No. Hinterpeak isn't where we're going. We're going to a small town outside Hinterpeak called Wormcrag.
Oh,
I remember this because I committed it to memory. Ulf, you are a very intelligent young man. I am.
Way to go, Ulf.
Great. Fantastic.
Point of order.
Hmm.
Trestle, you put fire on me before when I was running out into. You put fire on me?
Well, it was actually around you, and it was to help you do exactly what you were doing, and it did, didn't it?
I mean,
did very
yes,
well.
but and like Benetta's gonna like lead horse slightly more away from you, and like
See, and now we're going exactly where we should be.
And this is why I told you not to do it around them. Also, it doesn't count for the thing on the fire with the fire on the boat. Doesn't count.
It doesn't count. So, for the rest of the journey up the mountain, which is a very steep and zigzaggy kind of process, and there's more wind and there's more storms and everything else, but it clears out quite a lot as you enter what seems to be a like an old river valley where sort of like streams and things have carved it out. It is a V shape that goes all the way up there. At the end of it, you can see a community has been built. It is very thriving. You can see smoke coming from the chimneys of these houses. They have thatched roofs. They have wooden gabling everywhere. It is almost like a cross in description, kind of like a cross from a sort of a Viking village, but also has some of that Irish carving and twisting up everywhere. Delbar is incredible. There's also a lot of I would say in this world, it looks like a Spanish kind of colonial architecture too from that. So all that blended together anyway, it's very welcoming and nice, and it smells incredible. You can smell things coming down the slope. The road goes there. There are huge wooden palisades out front and a big carved wooden arch, which everything will go under. They've got gates, but they seem to have been opened up as wide as possible. It's not closed off. Very welcoming, like just come in here, this is our town. And as you see Hild has ridden up ahead. She's been talking to some people as they approach out there. There's other folks moving around. There's a very convivial kind of atmosphere. And she has obviously settled with them that the caravan will enter. This community is bustling. There are people, there are Dalbarians everywhere of all different appearances, some very dark skinned, some very light. There are people there who seem as if they've spent their entire lives working hard toil, and a few who seem as if they've been the ones in charge of those who are doing hard toil. But for the most part, everyone seems quite built. Then as you're coming up close to where it might be the main community long haul, and the caravan pulls around and everyone starts approaching and saying, oh my gosh, we've got these. A lot of people are starting to haul barrels off of the wagons and you're getting your bearings. Trestle, you see up ahead, further up, even further up, past this hall, past the communities, past some of the buildings, there is like a very peak of this valley. Shooting high up there is just a rock face, right? It's sheer rock. But below it is a huge frozen wall of ice. You can tell just with your own vision that you're getting now, because you've got this dark magic trauma in you that you can use, the corruption trauma. You can sense behind it and through it and suffused in it purple lightning streaks, something about this thing, and it's slowly irradiating outwards from it. There is a sign everywhere that sneaking through this town, invisible to everybody else. Purple coils of magic and power. And that's where we'll leave it.
Oh no, we're in danger.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you all so much for joining us, Cam. Oh my gosh. One more time, you can pre-order Tales of Xadia right now and instantly access rules, tales, and characters like the ones we just played here today at talesofxadia.com. The book releases in 2022. Thank you to the folks at Wonderstorm and Netflix for allowing us to tell stories in the world of the Dragon Prince, giving us some new holiday themed lore that we were able to share with you all today. You can watch 3 seasons of the show right now over on Netflix, so definitely do it. It's a great show. It's super fun. And of course, thank you to this cast. Where can people find you on the internet? Cam Banks.
You can find me on the Twitter at BoyMonster or on the Instagram at RustyCellsword, or you can find me at many hours of the day, including very different time zone times on the Discord for Cortex RPG.
Excellent. Fenway Jones.
Hey everyone, I'm Fenway Jones, also known as Fenway the Teen DM on Twitter and at Jasper's Game Day on all of the social medias. You can also find more information about Jasper's Game Day at jaspersgameday.com.
Fantastic. The Zelda.
As always, I have been your non-binary Busy Bee. You can find me on Twitter as at @B_Zelda, or if you want to get into the Adventurous League community, on the Wizards of the Coast Discord.
And Aliza Pearl.
Yes, I'm Aliza Pearl. You can find me at Aliza Pearl on Twitter and Instagram. And I run D&D Saturdays on the Twitch channel Kira858 and a bunch of other stuff that I run around the internet town. But yeah, I'll be back here for our next session.
Fabulous. Yes, I'm super duper excited for that. I'm Melly Doucette. Hit me up on Twitter at MellyDM or find me in the Cortex Discord. We're going to be back here next week with the finale of this holiday special. What other things might happen? Oh gosh, I'm very, very excited to see. If you are at PAX Unplugged this weekend, we are there as well. You can hop over. You can find us at booth 3226. We are doing some character creation previews and workshops there. You'll also just be able to ask some questions. You'll see some of the folks that work on this product, see some really cool stuff there. definitely check that out. You can also check out our Twitter for more information on that. You can definitely find more there. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Stay warm.